Okay, the game is underway. Getting into it just a little bit late. We missed the first turn here. But what we have is a pretty interesting hand state already. A lot of playable options by Mogwai here.
Mogwai on the bottom, Feno at the top.
Yep.
Those that are just joining us, a reminder that if you want to learn the basics of Artifact, we had a tutorial for about 40 minutes at the start of today's broadcast. Check out the VODs. It's on our Twitch channel, and it's also on your YouTube. So if you want to pause it and watch that first, you can. Otherwise, enjoy.
So both players have pretty good decks here. The Luna, of course, keep in mind, this is a major target to try to kill if you're Mogwai. When you see a Luna, every time you kill her, you slow down the Eclipse charges on her inevitable powerful AoE clear.
Yep, and that is going to happen with just a creep here.
Yep.
So Luna will be available in the round following the next one.
And I loved playing a Dimensional Portal here. An amazing play here. Picks off the Phantom Assassin, or at least forces out the Traveler's Cloak in this case, and just helps develop your board wide.
Now Mogwai is in the position where he can play Assassin's Apprentice, root this Apprentice on the hero and gank him with that, and that's like a very powerful play here.
Yes.
Yep, and you do want that Prelix to die because she has that passive that brings an extra melee creep into her lane.
Yep. So the Assassin's Apprentice, its ability can basically choose a combat target, even if it's already blocked at this time, which kills the Prelix. So right now, I mean, this is what Mogwai's deck needs to play for. The Prelix and the Luna are both cards that just give super good value if they don't die. And if Mogwai can keep killing them, he's going to be in a good position.
Mogwai has 15 gold to spend now, but looking at his secret shop, he has that Wingfall Hammer first that's blocking all the rest of his items. Unfortunately, only able to pick up that healing salve.
So we've got the Chen deployment for Mogwai. I'd like to see this go right, I think. It's a little scary trying to deploy 3 heroes left, and you're doing pretty well in these other 2 lanes.
We can fix. That's a Steam notification. Popular guy, Swim.
What? This is not my Steam account.
Yo, don't try and lay the blame on someone else, Swim. We know the girls are trying to contact you.
No, that is actually true. Hang on,
So,
please.
yeah,
Shut her up.
like, we can fix it next game. It's fine.
Yeah, so we've got Feno trying to decide his own deployment as well. Ogre going to go mid trying to defend this Treants. The Treants passive is going to do really well against these creeps, though.
What we can also see is already double Barracks in Feno's hand, and Barracks is a card which is deployed and gives you 1 extra additional creep every turn. And this means over turn it basically adds up. So, and because he has 3 Barracks in the hand, we can... I mean, once he gets these online, Mogwai, because black and green and red don't have access to AoE, they will overwhelm him. So it's really in the very late game, Feno will definitely get the upper hand. So for Mogwai, it's of uttermost importance to be very fast, to basically tempo Feno out, to close this game very quickly.
The time is on Feno's side here, absolutely. But I gotta say, big enough magic. A very interesting play.
Denies any ability to play the spells from Mogwai's hand in that first lane.
Even though Feno was kind of like, losing more tower damage in that exchange, he's just trying to lock Mogwai out of options.
This lane is the only lane where he can cast Barracks on this turn, since this is the only place with a blue hero.
Yep.
So we might see him start to develop that as soon as possible. Otherwise, his other options is to perhaps put down an Unearthed Secrets, and that's a great improvement.
Yeah, so Unearthed Secrets is basically just going to allow you to draw an extra card every time your tower gets dealt damage. So if this Timber's Eye hits it next turn, free draw for Mogwai.
That's right.
So we're going to have to see where this Barracks gets developed here. I would kind of like to see it right. Oh, there it is. Look at that. So this is going to just do a good job slowing the game down, but it still will take a few turns to really come online for value.
Yeah, I mean, additionally, the Barracks are also blocking and slowing down the game pace. So once 2 Barracks are online, Mogwai won't be able to get through that easily. And once all 3 Barracks are online, it's barely impossible for Mogwai to breach through any longer.
Yeah.
So this Ursa ability, this is a feels bad PA. He's gonna have -2 armor.
Yeah.
Wait, that heal?
Yeah,
Did you
didn't do
understand
anything.
that? Yeah, that
it was.
Well, with a cloak, with a cloak.
Perhaps with
okay,
a
I
cloak,
see,
this
yeah.
keeps the Phantom Assassin alive, but I'm honestly not certain that this is a great play. If you're Mogwai, you need to be playing very aggressively left, and probably middle secondarily. This is going to be a hard right lane to push. He's going to have to kind of force one of the blue heroes to come down here. It's very relevant that they're dropping at the same turn. He has PA's signature, coup de grace. He's going to have to use one of these hopefully on Luna or Prelix, if you can't kill.
Yeah, almost all the blue heroes in general, the longer you leave them out, the worse it is. Almost all of them you want to kill really quickly.
Yep.
Luna especially.
Yeah, there's the Hourglass buy, which basically undermines the new cards Feno will draw, but Feno already has enough cards in his hand, so he doesn't even mind Mogwai buying the Hourglass here.
So if you're Feno here, I like one left, one right. Normally, you want to pick one lane and defend it. You don't want to try to defend all three necessarily, but with his hand, look at all these blue cards, you want to open up all of your opportunity to use all 18 of your mana, and Troll Double Barracks is really good.
Yeah, it's interesting that Feno decided to put Prelix on the left side, because that Prelix will become ganked is pretty, yeah, it's nearly 100% if he deploys it in this way. So, yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah, perhaps he valued the Luna's life more than the Prelix's. Since there were only the 2 spots in front of Bristle and Debbie, he preferred to just sacrifice the Prelix instead.
I mean, he can play Eclipse though, so that might
That
save.
is true.
How many charges does Eclipse have?
This Eclipse currently
Only
has, here, let me, 3
3.
charges because
Oof.
Luna has not activated for this turn yet.
Good
It
enough.
will likely kill the
Yeah, he
Debbie.
just needs the Debbie.
Yep.
I mean, oh,
Ooh,
it
deciding
goes
to
barracks
barracks
instead.
instead. So initiative right this turn is going to really matter with coup de grace being able to kill the Luna before she can play anything. Feno might be trying to save the Eclipse for the right lane. To Mogwai to decide what to do here. He can try to pressure with Disciple of Nevermore.
He's going to try to save his Debbie. Puts
Disciple's so scary
cloak.
against blue.
It is. It is
Mhm.
very much. The downside of this card, reducing all of your allies on that lane by -2 armor, going negative, and then just getting smashed by an Eclipse never feels good.
Feno does have the option now to either play that Messenger Rookery here, or into the mid lane it goes. And that allows him to choose an ally and choose a different combat target for it.
Now, if you're Mogwai, I think here I'd really love to see the Disciple being paired with a Slay. Now, slaying a melee creep doesn't normally feel good, but as Life Coach pointed out, you got to end the game early when you're Mogwai, and this understanding completely changes the way you use cards like Slay.
Do you slay here, Life Coach?
Yeah, I would definitely think about it. I mean, there are not that many very big minions in Feno's deck, right?
Exactly.
There's a Troll 2-Sayer. I mean, obviously, you'd rather slay the Troll 2-Sayer, but he doesn't
He
know.
does
so
it.
yeah, sure.
Aggressive
not?
play. Do an 8 to
Doing
face.
10 with the, oh no, sorry, no short sword. He does have the Hourglass though, and he is presumably going to be equipping that on at least one of his heroes, maybe saving it for the Chen on the right lane. This is going to do a great job. Hourglass is a very powerful item. It does lock cards as they are drawn for 1 turn. There it is on the Bristle.
Bristle especially hard to get rid of for Feno. So it's very likely that each of the cards that he draws will be denied by that Hourglass.
I mean, putting the Prelix there, he's just lucky it wasn't in front of the Bristleback. I mean, he would have gotten 2
Yeah.
armor there. So
One of the nice things about this lane, if you're Mogwai, is not only do you have this tree maybe putting out a little pressure, but you can also even support other lanes. If you want a Romusk Blessing to the right lane to try to keep these a little healthier, the alternative is passing for initiative, taking the coup on the Phantom Assassin.
So this is a good example of how to use and spend your items, your cloak and your flask. He's got to decide whether he wants to use it here when the tree's in trouble, or whether he wants to wait until the next lane to use some of those. So he's probably zoomed out, trying to decide.
Yeah, and he's also, he's holding on to them. The Ogre does have the option to use
the
the
Ogre's
Messenger
gonna hit.
Rookery to hit the tree. But we do have the answers with the Healing Flask and the Cloak.
So let's see what he chooses to do here.
Yeah, you can also opt into Ramask Blessing this lane. I mean, it's 6 minions or 5 minions plus 0, so that's also very good.
Yeah.
I don't mind Romusk Blessing this.
Yep.
If Feno wants to try to use
18
the
health.
It's quite a lot. And that's great against, especially with blue in this case. Eclipse is the only main big removal for a wide board like this. So keeping them healthy and out of Eclipse lethal range is quite good as well.
Mogwai still deciding whether he wants to take initiative or heal tree with Romusk, Fountain Flask, or Traveler's Cloak. I like the Romusk here. I
Yeah,
don't
I
mind
think
it
the
at all.
blessing is what you do here.
At the same time,
Yeah.
you're giving up right in a major way. Eclipse will shut you down.
Maybe he thinks he's going to use the blessing for next lane to
I like blessing
protect
right.
against Eclipse.
Now that you've lost initiative,
That's
it is your
right.
biggest defense.
Now
However,
you-
this Eclipse will have 4 charges, because Luna's passive is about to trigger, buffing it up, and if it hits PA, She will die to the Eclipse. There it goes.
Yep.
Ooh. All right. Let's see it.
This is a pretty good Eclipse. And with that, Feno will just basically have completely won right lane at this point. The PI dies to 1 charge because it has -2 armor.
Yeah.
Even the Agility Vandal might be going
So
down
Eclipse
to
does 3.
Yes.
It's piercing. Piercing does not mean it is unaffected by armor. It means it goes through it. So the -2 still affects Eclipse.
Mogwai's going to go ahead and pass. He's got initiative, but he doesn't really have Hand of God value. He's looking to get a value coup on the left, maybe, if Feno tries to develop the Ursa.
No,
there.
look at these creeps, man. Holy crap.
Oh, the barracks are
That's
already
a lot
showing
of
their
creeps,
power.
guys.
5 melee creeps on deployments.
Life coach, who do you think is winning right now?
Oh, Feno for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
this
So-
these 3 barracks are so powerful.
So those that are new, you can look at the scores, and it looks like he has less tower health. But because of the state of the board and the improvements on the board, all these melee creeps going to make it really hard for Mogwai to try and break through.
At the same time, I mean, a Hand of God potential mid on Tree and Protector, keeping everything alive, and Phantom Assassin deploying with Disciple of Nevermore for some punch through. It's definitely not out of the woods yet for Feno.
Yeah, I mean, we will definitely see it in the next 1-2 turns because Mogwai has chances to get the left lane and the mid lane. So that's what he is aiming for. And yeah, we will see whether he will be fast enough for that.
Mogwai's odds are dropping every single turn. He needs to end this game fast. Second hand doesn't do it for him.
Oh,
Agility is
Those
nice,
are great.
though.
Those
Agility
are
is
great
great.
draws.
This just gives huge potential and can be curved to the Disciple of Nevermore turn very easily, since they both equal 7 mana right now. Would you take the coup de grace here?
He could kill off that Ursa, pushing for 9 more damage to the towers
Yeah.
because of Debbie's passive.
Coup is most valuable as a card when you can lock a player out of color options, and because there's both red heroes here, that is not an option for you. Of course, we know Feno only does have the Whirling Death in hand.
Yeah. If Mogwai decides to play Oglodi and Disciple, he should play them next to each other, though. Okay, no, he does the coup.
What did he discard?
New orders.
Okay.
Debbie's passive will force her to deal 9 damage to the tower, so this is going down to 6 already. I mean, that's pretty easy range for something like a Agility Vandal plus something else. Mogwai needs to be able to take mid.
Healing selves Debbie to keep her healthy.
I mean, Feno doesn't have AoE clears mid. Like, the Hand of God, even without initiative, is going to keep Mogwai stuff healthy. Phantom Assassin coming in next turn might be it for Feno. He needs to draw some good cards.
Yeah.
But the Hourglass is preventing that from happening. Keep in mind, Feno next turn is only getting these cards unlocked. He's not drawing new cards that aren't locked because of the Hourglass.
What's the other card he has locked right now?
It is
That's
Foresight,
Farsight, yeah.
Foresight.
and Rage.
I mean, he can play 2 blockers in the mid lane next turn, so it's not completely devastating. He will get 1 additional melee creep, and he has 2 Relentless Zombies. Relentless Zombies are actually taking 2 hits until they become killed,
Yes.
so they are like really, really good blockers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Feno is going to put up a real stone wall in this mid lane. Mogwai is putting it to 14 now. Agility will put it down to 10 if Mogwai commits it there. I don't know. 10 damage is not too hard to do. It's 1 barracks.
Yeah,
Feno
no.
is looking for melee creep spawns in the middle lane.
Chen's active is up. He could choose to take a melee creep if he wants.
Could slow down Feno's progression on this lane. I think you're not necessarily afraid of the Luna in this case, though.
Gonna go ahead and do that. Also kill off that creep on the left.
So Feno deciding whether to pass for initiative. He takes initiative for the next round, so he will be going first. And Prelix and Phantom Assassin will most likely at this point meet each other mid, unless Feno wants to try to defend left, possibly.
I would be surprised if he would. I mean, he probably thinks mid lane is the best to keep, and yeah.
But look, he does have 2 creeps going into that first lane, so both Bristle and Debbie will be blocked.
The power of just having a lot of creeps.
Yep.
Phantom Assassin and Prelix doubling down mid. This Roseleaf Druid is actually coming in huge here. 9 mana on this tower means if Mogwai does top deck something like an unsupervised artillery, he will be able to play it alongside Disciple of Nevermore and the Agility Vandal.
Is a bristleback useful if all it hits is creeps?
The question is, if you're Mogwai here, do you consider playing something like the Aglode event? Oh, the second Disciple. That is
Ooh,
huge.
Yeah.
All right, he just needs a hole. Got to get through.
He needs 2 holes, Ken. I mean, look at this. The Aglode Vandal is maybe going to be baited out here, or at least 1 Disciple. I mean, there's got to be something that's going to deal damage to this tower. Like Life Coach said, these barracks are just starting to ramp up in value. Creeps might just keep spawning here indefinitely.
I mean, he can't play the zombies here, so
Yeah.
he can take this tower if he wants to. It's just how much does he want to put into this?
If Mogwai plays a Disciple on the right side, though, he will get Whirling
Whirling
Death.
Death. Yep.
So Whirling Death deals 2 damage, but the Disciple also receives manas to armor on everything you got. So if this happens, he would also lose the melee creep additionally, so that would be very devastating for Mogwai. But I am sure he sees it.
Yep. If you're Mogwai, you got to play around it. You got to
Right.
play on the left side. There it
There
is.
we go.
And he
Beautiful.
does.
He's going Disciple.
Going face. 4 damage here. Preserving the Vandal for mid. I do like this play. The damage forward to the enemy tower immediately is going
Does
to
this
be more
mean he's
valuable.
going to double Disciple here?
Interesting.
Well,
mean-
looking at the mid lane,
I think the mid might need the second Disciple.
Yeah.
I do like this play. Just the 1 Disciple, just in case. At the same time, this might be scarier. Like Life Coach said, these 2 Relentless Zombies are going to be absolutely massive for Feno. This is exactly what you want if you're here.
Drafting the zombies are really strong for his deck just
Right.
because, you know, he needs the delay and he has those barracks and he knows he can win later on. So.
And he drew a Dimensional Portal too. Now, he can't play this yet because he drew it off of the Hourglass, locking it. But these zombies are going to buy him enough time. He will be able to Dimensional Portal after.
All right. Let's see.
He needs to play both zombies.
both zombies.
Predicts
yeah.
will also stay alive, which also secures him an additional melee creep into spawning into this lane.
I guess this
But with the,
Disciple's
with
coming
the Aglode
down. He
Vandal
also has
not,
Intimidation.
with the
though.
Aglode Vandal not curving, that's it, isn't it? Disciple plus the
Set.
Aglode, isn't that it?
Well, you can play a second zombie, but
He intimidates the zombie.
right. There's a new one.
The short sword represents lethal.
Yeah.
Messenger Rookery can't save him here. This game is over. Mogwai is taking it 1-0.
He can still block the left lane.
No, it's not
No.
over yet.
He can still block the left lane. The zombie spawned to the left lane, so
Yeah.
maybe he might be able to defend that.
With the
Yeah.
correct arrows and creep spawns and
Yeah,
all
it's
that kind
possible.
of stuff, he can come back.
All right, yeah.
That zombie went to a nice place for him.
Without the Aglode in hand, he needs a way to be able to deal
Yes.
just 2 damage to this. Just 2 damage to this tower.
I mean, there's one thing to be said about Feno's blue heroes. So they are locked at the very moment, and we see Dimensional Portal coming in, but there is no blue hero for Feno on the
Yeah.
very left side. So once the hero arrives on the very left side, he will be able to Dimensional Portal for 3 additional creeps, ignite, and everything, right? So that will be very interesting to see. I mean, Mogwai needs at least something else in order to
kinda-
lead it to damage.
He kind of wishes those weren't locked, though.
Yeah,
He's
those-
got.
Yeah.
Is that improvement
And
that
this
he has
is-
locked?
This is why Clash Dream Hourglass is regarded as one of the strongest items in the game.
Yeah, that ignite would be big
But of
against
course,
a board
all of
that
these
has
cards just got unlocked
Blink
this
Dagger.
turn.
Dagger.
That's big. That's so
Mogwai.
big, because now he can blink 1 hero to the left lane from the mid.
2 creeps and an Ursa coming down.
The double creep spawn.
That's
And
not
keep-
bad.
Not only that, but he's got the Luna and the Ogre coming down next turn.
Right, right. And he got
He could
one-
hold.
He will definitely
Two-
be
Yeah,
able to
two
hold,
he's
yeah.
damage.
gonna hold here.
Yep.
Barring drawing something.
Has even a Red Mist Pillager. He can even play that one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not sure whether he will, because he might be afraid that Mogwai can kill one of his minions, so I wouldn't be surprised if he would hold on the Red Mist Pillager just because of that.
2 health.
Yeah, it
The
was
difference between winning and losing here.
He just needs the ability to deal over the top damage. He has the artillery, but this does not work. He's got 4 Vandals. He's got a
Ooh.
lot of time to draw into his
right.
2 other Vandals into his deck.
I think it's not really whether he draws the Vandals, it's whether he can keep this Debbie alive. I think that it's going to die if he gets an Eclipse, if he is able to try and kill it. Because, I mean, Feno can see his deck list. He
Yeah.
knows how many Vandals he has, so...
And we see Feno not really having the big blue spells, nothing like Eclipse at this time. He's going to need to draw one.
The zombie is soaking 18 damage whatsoever. That's crazy. I mean, if this Debbie would hit the tower, he would deal 2 times 11 damage for 22.
Yeah. And the zombie also is actually dealing a decent amount of damage because of the minus armor.
Right, right.
Um,
It's crazy.
Mogwai just stalling, healing up Bristle, looking to see if he could react to anything with his 9 mana.
But he knows he's got nothing here.
Yeah. Feno does have the option to put the Red Mist Pillager down. Because at this point, if you're Feno, are you looking for just surviving, or is there any way that you can start putting down win conditions?
I think this game just shows how important siege damage is, or some sort of
Yeah.
late game where you can...
Kinfolk Turret, that's not a bad draw. I think if you're Feno, you can't just be solely focused on surviving.
Yeah.
Because surviving for 4 turns, the second Agility Vandal or the third Agility Vandal is going to come down and lethal that.
Yeah, but Feno will probably get the right lane at some point, so if he kills the left lane, I mean, that's basically his win condition as well. So defending the left lane at the same time also means winning the left lane, and that's basically the same.
Yes.
I mean, maybe he needs to commit 1 blue hero on the right lane at some point, but I mean, that's far away.
Kinfolk Turret left has to be what you're looking for here. Now he's thinking about, if you're Mogwai, you're thinking about your Blink Dagger. Which one of these 3 heroes, Treant, Phantom Assassin, or even the Chen in the other lane?
Ignite mid.
So he wants to take the mid lane. Okay.
I think this is an aggressive Ignite. The Tower Barrage is going to do a lot against this board, especially if Mogwai ends up linking the Treant away.
What did he draw there from Compel? Another Ignite. Oh. Mogwai just buffing up that first lane because all he needs is that 2 damage.
Yeah, if you see this Ignite here as Mogwai, you might be a little scared for this lane potentially going down. Blinking the Phantom Assassin, potentially locking himself out of green spells on the left lane. Chen and Tree still stranded in unrelevant lanes.
PA blinks over to the left. Feno does have 2 heroes coming down. And the cards that he's going to draw are going to be locked. So at the moment, we don't see any clips in hand or anything. So Mogwai's really hoping on drawing an Oglodi Vandal or some sort of answer to get that 2 damage.
I mean, as it played out, maybe Feno doesn't even need to take the right lane because the mid lane will probably also be his at some point. Yeah.
2 more creeps coming into the fray too.
Double deploy. Mogwai needs the Agility. If he draws it, that should be it, unless an Eclipse gets drawn, but it's going to get locked by Hourglass. If Mogwai finds the Agility Vandal, this game is over. All he needs is this 2 damage. But without the Agility, that just might be impossible. There's infinite blockers on Feno's side. I mean, he can kill a creep, it will just get replaced by another one.
Portals.
Red Mist
Pillagers. Just
Agility Vandal, there it is! The draw.
It'd be funny if there's the other one too.
He's smiling right now.
And 4 Vandals in Mogwai's draft. That's exactly what you want to see here. Is there any way? And the Eclipse was drawn, but the Hourglass locked it.
Well, he has 2 black. I mean, it would be hard, right?
Oh, with a 7
with seven charges and -2 armor on Phantom Assassin.
Armor,
this Hourglass ending up maybe costing Feno the game.
Yep.
Hourglass. That card is so annoying.
It's very powerful. Vandal drops, takes lethal on the second tower here.
Oh. The rock.
That's it.
Okay, so I mean that's really how this matchup kind of boils down to. It's exactly like Life Coach said. Mogwai is like very much the rush deck. You're very happy to have 4 Vandals there. If Feno is able to slow the game down enough for like the rest of the series, then he's very favored because his deck will win late no matter what. Okay. So at this point in time, what do you guys think about how these like next games might go? Like, do we think there's do we think Feno's like unfavored? Or do you think it's very even? Life Coach.
I would think it's very even. I mean, it really depends whether Feno can bridge into the late game. If he can bridge into the late game, he will probably win. But Mogwai also has all the power. I mean, there's so many. I mean, I would probably be on Mogwai's side deck-wise because it has such strong early game power tools and also the 4 Oglodi Vandals to finish off the work. Yeah, so that will help him tremendously as in the last game.
Yeah, there was a crucial turn, I think, in the last game where he did enough magic that might have hurt him in the long run. But otherwise, I think the 2 drafts are both pretty even.
Yeah, additionally, I mean, when we jumped in, Mogwai was able to pick off 2 clean kills against Luna and Prelix very early, and that's exactly what you want. I mean, keeping those heroes down and keeping Feno from being able to cast all of his blue cards. Like, if Feno could have played those barracks earlier, that game could have gone very differently. So Mogwai also needs, like, pressure early game as well.
Mogwai goes for the hero gank on Luna with the black hero on the right lane. 50-50.
Yep, that creep could be in front of Luna. And Feno's now thinking about where he wants to put this Prelix. Where is the safest place? Left lane, there is a chance 1 in 3 that it'll land in front of the bristle. So he's thinking about the right.
Yep. If you've got a hand like this, if you're
Ooh.
Feno, you don't really have to
Yeah.
worry about color spreading. This going into the bristle would be very unfortunate for Feno. He does have Compel.
Oh,
Not this time.
he's fine.
That's the best place for it to land up.
Bristle curving into Timbersaw. Timbersaw will gain armor. Timbersaw has reactive armor, so each of its attackers
Ooh,
and
the
anything
new
pointed
orders.
to it does give armor.
Actually, it was the only place, because if he would have spawned against a Legionnaire, Mogwai could have Vicious Nasal Good it, and yeah,
Yeah.
Feno couldn't have done anything against that.
You're killing this Prelix, right, with this new orders, or?
There's not necessarily no consideration to Nasal the Timbersaw, but I think it's got to be the Prelix
Yeah.
skill with the new orders.
Oh,
Whoa!
Okay.
Nasal on the Prelix.
Oh, I like that, because if he would have played new orders, Feno could have also just played 1 creep, like any random creep,
yeah,
and
that's true.
then Bristleback would have been forced, because of the new routing, would have been forced to hit this new creep then.
It's true, playing it safe.
So we have the pick-off potential here. Picking off the Prelix, now that it's been hit with this Nasal Goo.
Yeah,
Not
like
a bad play. Pretty
yeah,
solid.
it's good, because Prelix will also spawn a new creep every turn, so why not picking it off because before he does it? Oh, the Bristleback is on 1 life, so he will get killed by the Ignite. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is very
Yeah.
nasty.
Because
Can
if
you explain why that's way better than the Bristleback even dying last turn?
Yeah, so if something gets killed, or if a hero becomes killed before he deals his combat action, that means he's basically sitting out for 2 turns, specifically also if he becomes killed in the upkeep, because then it also means that he cannot even play spells with a corresponding hero in this very lane at that point. So that's very nasty.
So sometimes you want to leave a hero at 1 health to be killed by an
Yes.
Ignite, than to kill that hero that turn.
Right. hmm
Ooh, Mogwai choosing the Agloti Vandal over the Satyr Duelist here. Very aggressive play.
They're interesting, yeah.
Yeah. Usually we would see the Satyr Duelist developed early to ramp up that attack with the passive it has.
So Chen can go... Well,
I mean, the
Could be
question is,
left.
do you fight for left against this Ignite, or do you just have to push for mid? It's not a great spawn into Ursa, but mid is the better lane.
Fight left.
yeah, I like the 2. I mean, it's not killing the Timbersaw, unfortunately, but what can you do?
So we're about to watch this Bristleback die immediately, and then he has to sit 2 turns. That's a rough one for Mogwai.
Yeah, we also have to say that if Mogwai wouldn't have deployed the hero in the left lane as he did, he would have probably already lost the game because of the Red Mist Pillager army. So no hero, Red Mist Pillager for the game probably.
Yeah, multiple Red Mist Pillagers is very scary. This card is strong enough to represent a win condition just by itself if
Right.
it doesn't get answered. Even with Feno's like more defensive style deck. Bristleback goes down to the Ignite. And Mogwai does have the Satyr Duelist here. This is a pretty solid Duelist, but it's not really what you need against something like a Pillager if the Duelist gets played first.
Yeah, maybe Feno could also opt into to pass first, and maybe Mogwai plays either Duelist or Unearthed Secrets, and then the Pillager will come in very big time, but that's also high risk, high reward play.
Exactly. That's one of the tricky things you can do with Initiative. Because right now, if you're Feno, you want to play the Pillager, but only after Mogwai has played his card.
Yeah, you want to wait. I don't think people usually play Pillagers without at least seeing what the opponent has.
Right.
This is great too, using the Enrage on Timber, and now he's going to be killing the Chen, but Mogwai does have a Furline Mantle and a Healing Salve,
Yep.
so you can save that guy.
And Mogwai can curve out this round with either a Secrets or a Satyr Duelist here. Secrets just to draw a card. Satyr Duelist won't do too well against the Ogre, but it will at least trade with it or potentially get salved.
Messenger Rookery and Red Heroes, one of the best
That is
combos
a
in the game.
Scary Rookery on this lane.
Very good with Bristleback, Ursa, Legion, those kind of heroes.
Yep. So we can see this Ursa is currently attacking the creep. Rookery's this blue improvement allows you to basically redirect that freely. So curving this into the PA and just slowing Mogwai down is exactly what you want in this matchup.
And that's very powerful. It's also decreasing the armor of Phantom Assassin, and yeah, that's huge
One
later.
Pillager.
Pillagers coming down, very important. Mogwai doesn't have a new hero spawning afterwards, so this Pillager will quadruple.
Yes.
And yeah, Mogwai cannot do anything against that.
People
so
probably asking you, why didn't he heal his PA there?
yeah, because the Phantom Assassin only has 8 health max life, so you cannot heal above max life. So even if you would have
Yes.
healed it, Phantom Assassin would have died.
So this game is really going to come down to this card, Red Mist Pillager. This is a very, very scary red card if it's unanswered. It's very counterable by effects that kind of kill things, but when this snowballs, it will redouble itself every single time. We're going to see this ancient tower here go down in, what, 4 turns from now at most?
Oh, it will be very, very important where the creeps spawn now, because if both Mogwai's creeps will spawn against the pillagers, he can basically completely annihilate this red. But if none, then these pillagers will just quadruple, and then at some point there will be like 16 pillagers, and that's game.
Yep. So, I mean, if you're Mogwai, you basically just have to try to rush down both right and left, but you're not necessarily going to be able to do that fast enough. I mean, this tower is looking pretty good, but double deploy on Feno, and all he has to do is defend one more tower. Feno's got to be feeling pretty good about this game.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
these pillagers.
I like the decision to TP out Luna. Now he's able to play down 2 heroes.
Oh, no creep, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rough one.
This-
I think Mogwai really wanted a creep mid, at least to take one of them. It really slows down the snowball.
Right.
This is going to be difficult. He doesn't have a hero coming in. He has no way of dealing with this.
You
This
can
is-
still hope for rooting.
Yeah, and this is one of the weaknesses of Black-Red. You don't have kind of AoE without something like Tinker providing you with March. I mean, these pillagers will just be completely unanswered.
He has another one, too.
I think perhaps you might want to consider redeploying the Luna into last lane. What do you think about that? Or do you think there's
gonna
more
mid the
power
Luna.
needed in mid? I
That's
feel like the pillagers can...
I guess this is
prove a
he
threat.
just doesn't want 3 heroes left.
Yeah, I think Feno also knows that he won't lose lane 1, while mid lane won't be contested twice.
Yeah.
So he just says, hey, I'm staying alive in lane 1 for at least 3 turns, maybe 4, but by that time I definitely dealt 80 tower damage in the mid tower, so he doesn't need to worry about that stuff.
And Mogwai's hero positioning is just exactly what you don't want right now. He's got these 2 heroes just kind of stuck here. Now, he did draw Intimidation, which can be played on your own heroes. He might be forced to use this on either his Debbie or his Treant Protector on the right lane.
Guys, I have a question. Do you think that Mogwai can win by ADing the right lane next turn? If he draws the right stuff?
Next
He puts
turn.
everything there, and he draws another Disciple. It's doable, right?
I don't think it's doable. The biggest thing is that because mid lane happens before right lane, he
Yeah.
basically needs to go, whoa,
moving the
intimidating
Wow.
this.
Giving up on that first lane.
That's a very interesting play. I mean, he's going to need to be able to do something with this, right? Maybe he was trying to go for a right lane kill.
That's
I'm not sure what else his plan could have been with that.
dude.
Yeah.
He's gonna go for 80 on the right, dude. I'm telling you.
Well, right now it's not looking great for him with those 2 blockers. He might not even be able to pop it this turn, depending on what's there.
If the Chen had stayed alive, better. Holy Persuasion threatens Red Mist Pillager next
Oh,
turn.
yes.
But at the same and there's the
another
other
one.
Pillager being dropped from hand. So this is
Block
going to
one.
quadruple.
I have more.
That's fine. He only needs 1 turn.
Yep.
I mean, Disciple, we've seen before, Disciple is a very, very scary card. Like, this right
Yeah.
Ancient could go very quickly.
I'll tell you, if he kills that with the no accident, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, he can, and he draws the right cards.
I mean, it's not impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
I think
impossible.
Mogwai's best chance at this point is to double deploy
into
mid.
the last.
At this point, because you have to slow down mid. The last lane will take itself with the Disciple and these 2 heroes. You're going to want to start trying to slow down mid, especially these Pillagers, because this is kind of the lane you really can defend.
I think you cannot really defend that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
he will definitely need 2 turns on the right lane, and by with 2 turns, Feno will definitely be able to get both his left lane and the mid lane.
Yeah.
I would let it roll, dude. Yeah, no accident this zombie. You kill the tower this turn, and then you deploy everything right and let it roll.
Oh no, then you just lose the
Yeah, then you
both
just lose the
lanes.
game.
The left lane has to be the defensible lane in this situation. And luckily for Mogwai, Feno just does have a lot of like low attack heroes.
Yeah,
so
he's got to put 1 thing left.
he might be
at
able to
least.
stall this. This is where you see the like lack of mobility in these decks kind of really hurt them. Like Feno needs to be able to find a Blink Dagger or something like that. With these 3 heroes stranded here, Mogwai does have just a completely uncontested Disciple lane.
See how your army grows strong. I'm gonna need your help.
Of course, if Feno draws an Ignite, this is all over.
Now the
Oh, no, the
treant is
Treant,
going to
yeah.
die. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is taking
I
19
don't know what
damage.
He's gonna try.
He's going for it. The satyr's growing every turn. He's trying. Double deploy left, get some defense in there. Feno's got the initiative.
Yeah.
Mogwai's got the coup to slow it down.
Draws a potion. We'll probably see him try to defend that first lane. Well, although right now, how much damage is that doing?
You've got to go double defense on the first lane. The
Mhm.
thing is, I mean, if Feno can pressure harder, it's possible he could even just race Mogwai at this point, because these Red Mist Pillagers are going to output a
Yeah.
ridiculous amount of damage as well.
Everyone, get in here.
Yeah, how many
So
red
many.
mist? Well, one is getting blocked at least.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he won't be able to deal 80 damage in one turn. So, yeah, Mogwai will usually be faster if that
Mogwai
happens.
will be faster. There's no ignite. There's nothing Feno can do that can really disrupt right. He has the Town Portal scroll, but even then, he doesn't have anything that can really clean up the right lane.
it's a race, guys. It's a good old-fashioned throne race.
Got hip fire. If you're Mogwai at this point, you're just waiting for your opportunity to take a coup. I love cooing maybe the Treant if you want to lock out of red.
Or
Honestly, given this conscript,
Mhm.
locking red is going to be very favorable for Mogwai here.
You know, draw a card
Timber
first.
Saw. Mhm.
He's just thinking.
He's kind of worried too. The coup de grace, discarding a card might not be pretty.
I mean, even the no accident is killing prelex. I mean, that's crazy.
That's true. The -2 armor.
Yep. If you're Mogwai, you're planning everything out. So you got to save your Disciple of Nevermore in the right lane, and you can do that in the perfect way by hip firing it, which also steals initiative for next turn. So he's looking at this hip fire, he's thinking, okay, I'm going to
He's gotta
save this.
save it, yeah.
Mhm.
And that gives me the tools, coup, hip fire, nasal goo. Choosing to go with the nasal goo first. That's a really interesting play.
He doesn't need to do that, right? I don't get it.
He doesn't. It's very passive.
Yeah, and he only has 3 mana to work with now.
Didn't take the potion of knowledge.
Oh, now the Phantom Assassin might become killed.
Yeah, I feel like that goo is.
No, he can just do it. I mean, he can just Whirling Death and shoot it, and then the Phantom Assassin is dead. That's very powerful.
Yeah,
Yep.
Whirling Death is good.
There
And
it
then
is.
it's
This
going to
minus
save the
one
ogre
armor.
too.
Yep. Whirling Death is Timbersaw's signature card. Deals 2 damage to both of the opposing units and reduces their attack for 1 round. So keeps the ogre alive and healthy.
And from Feno's perspective, he can see his opponent's like the back of their hand, and so he knows there's no more items here to help out that PA. So
Now the Vicious Nasal Goo on the ogre would be very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it didn't really change the Prolix dying, right? The Prolix would have died anyway.
does new orders to change Timbersaul's target to Bristle?
I didn't even shoot the Phantom Assassin. Interesting.
Not yet, at least.
Maybe he thinks he wants to keep him here. I don't know.
I mean, Mogwai cannot do any actions, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Feno can just
Yeah,
do
he's
whatever
It
he
doesn't
likes.
really matter. You can
It's
save
dying to
it.
the creep. It feels bad.
Yep. We have Enrage as an option if he just wants to kind of keep it healthier. Leather armor on ogre. I mean, if Feno draws Ignite next turn, this might all be over, because being able to stall this out, I mean, Ignite won't do enough to actually kill this Disciple. This Disciple is staying alive. It's 1 off. Double Ignite's not an option.
Okay, and Mogwai will be able to hold the left lane if he deploys heroes there.
This looks pretty good for Mogwai. I mean, Feno's heroes
Yep.
are just stuck.
Well, I mean, he has Town Portal, and I think he can maybe protect the right lane by portaling now into something. So putting the barracks on the right lane, portaling Luna, and then
Yep.
yeah, that's exactly his thought.
At the same time, I mean, you have to decide whether committing right or left is better, because you can play defensively right, try to buy an extra turn for your heroes coming in left, but then you got to worry about the PA and the Bristleback deployments 2 turns from now.
Yeah, I think into 2 turns from now it doesn't matter that much because he's pretty safe on the mid lane.
Yep.
So he knows in 2 turns he will have the mid lane for sure.
So this is
is
the
scary,
artillery plus the hip fire play. That's a beautiful hip fire, redirecting the Satyr's arrow, keeping the Disciple up, taking back initiative.
Okay, well, this is going to be the last turn,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
I mean, Luna's trying to come down right to stall this for just one turn. But if Mogwai has initiative, the
Yeah.
coup will stop that.
He's going to just try and keep
He's gonna
initiative.
hold initiative
and,
the
and,
entire.
Hand of God that last lane.
Yeah.
or-
Yeah, exactly. Then
And
deploying probably one green hero left, one green hero right, and then just clicking through unless Feno threatens lethal.
He also has the Chen to ensure that he has the space.
Yep.
So he can steal a creep, and that's off cooldown.
you've got to put something left. Obviously, this Ogre conscript from Feno's hand does represent 7 extra damage.
Do you mind pulling up Feno's deck list so we can see what potentially he could draw here?
Annihilation, but only with
But it's
with
not.
initiative.
Yeah.
So
Something to get initiative, if there's anything. I guess
Arcane Assault
doesn't have 4.
does get initiative.
Yeah, Arcane Assault.
Mhm.
So that's a compel.
oh,
Ooh, that's...
it's also nice.
Yeah.
Cannot use it yet, but
So Mogwai's
He's just keeping
passing.
initiative.
Keep an initiative, gonna
Mhm.
pass
Compel
both
needs
lanes.
to find Arcane Assault to take initiative back. If he can take initiative back, he needs to still find something to do with it. That's not it.
That's
Nope.
not it.
No initiative. Is this Mogwai's game?
I think.
Mhm.
I mean, he just kills the Luna, right? And he
That is-
steals
And that's
the
enough,
creep,
yeah. That's
and
just it.
Yeah.
It's probably enough just killing Luna, right?
And Mogwai knows what he's playing for. He's just going to keep passing it back. Feno can't take initiative back. He needs to threaten lethal on this tower to force Mogwai to play something to give up initiative. But he can't do it. Yeah, it looks like there is nothing here. Feno making
Yeah.
sure. And at this point, if you're Feno, your only hope is that the coup isn't in hand.
Of course, we know it is in hand. Gonna be a tough one.
Yeah, unfortunately, these Red Mist Pillagers not multiplying fast enough to take down this tower.
Just needed one more turn.
Yep.
So many.
so many villagers.
Well,
Coup comes down. And even if a little more damage was necessary, we also have the artillery. In this case, it's not. Whew.
And that's it.
does he steal the creep?
That is it.
Does he BM him?
Does he
No,
BM?
you
Does
bl-
does
you
Feno
blue
let him
button every
BM?
time. I'm
Nope,
a,
there's
I'm
the
a
concede.
major
No, he
proponent
concedes.
of the blue button.
Doesn't even give him the
And
option.
that's it. So Mogwai takes a pretty clean 2-0 with a pretty aggressive deck. Not quite as aggressive as Joel Larsen's deck. That one seemed a little more kind of face heavy,
Yep.
Mhm.
but pretty comparable actually.
That's
Very
true.
similar playstyles.
And I was talking to Yol. He was looking at the deck list, and he was actually very scared of Feno's deck with the Luna and the
Oh.
Prelix. If it does go to late game, both those aggressive decks do lose a lot of their power and have a lot of trouble pushing through all those barracks.
Okay, so
So-
Mogwai is advancing to the second bracket of the semifinals. I don't know if we can pull that up here. And then there's only one final quarterfinals left to do, which is Dane versus Space Loner.
That's right.
If we have the bracket here. Oh,
Yep.
there it is. So, as we can see, our boy Yoel has